All right, you guys. So if you look at our teams page, right, in our new week's channel, we're now in week 9, right, and you scroll all the way up, right, you'll see Monday's work, right. My internet was down, so I wasn't able to be here yesterday, and but all we had to do is page 1 of week 9 problems, questions 6 through 10. And right, that was still more of solving the inequalities, right? We go up to, right, we'll see here's where you can mark yourself in attendance. Right? And remember, we were doing page 1 page 1 of week 9 problems. So let's look at page 1. Right, remember, this is still just solving one variable inequalities. And then just remember, there was only one rule, right? So on Monday, we were supposed to do 5 through 10, and today we're supposed to do 11 through 15. Oh, sorry. We did 5 on Friday. So we only have to do 6 through 10 for Monday, and then 11 through 15 for today. So in today's video, I will be going over problems, right? Some from problems 6 through 10 and some from problems 11 through 15. All right, so going back to our week 9 channel, right? See, for today, we're doing page 1 of week 9 problems 11 through 15. Right, so between today, 11 through 15, and yesterday, 6 through 10, right? All together, we're doing 6 through 15. All right, so, and remember, you could find the assignment, right, over here in the Generals tab. You could click on Week 9 Problems, or you could click over on Assignments and go to your class and find it there. All right, so let's take a look at the problems. All right, so remember, there was only one rule while solving inequalities, right? It's just that if you multiply or divide by a negative, then you reverse the inequality direction, right? So like here, we're going to have to multiply, we're going to have to divide both sides by -4, right? So since we divide both sides by -4, we're going to switch the direction of the inequality. It was pointing to the left, now it's pointing to the right. It was a strictly less than, and then afterwards it became strictly greater than. Right? And then here's a non-example, right? For this one, we're dividing both sides by 5. And even though the right side is negative, right, we're dividing by +5. So the direction of the inequality stays the same the whole way down. Right, so, right, and last week we were doing problems with where we had the number line. But we're not going to do that today because, right, as long as you follow the rules, you will always know whether it's going to be less than or greater than. Right, for example, this one. We're starting with 9, so leave some space on your papers for problem 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and then we have this problem, right? So 1/4. So in order to get rid of the 1/4, we got to multiply by both sides by the opposite of 1/4, which is 4/1, right, or just 4. So we're multiplying both sides by 4, right? And we're multiplying both sides by a positive. So the direction is not going to change, right? But the 4 cancels out the 4, right? 1 times x is x, so we just have x is less than 2 times 4 is 8. Right, and that's literally all that we have to do for the first problem. So, moving on now, we're going to do problem 10. Alright, so now we have 12 minus 3x is greater than 2x plus 1. So what we're going to do here, right, remember we solve these just the same way that we solve equations, right? So we got to move all the x's to one side and all the 1's to the other. And right, usually, and that first step of moving stuff over is always adding. So we're not going to change the direction of the sign, right? Because we're just going to add, right? We want to cancel out the 3x, right? And since we cancel out the 3x, that means we want to cancel out the 1's over here, right? So we'll cancel out the 1's. Right? Cancel out something from the left, cancel out something from the right, and then you'll be left with a simple equation, right? Because here, right, 2x and 3x makes 5x, 12 and negative 1 makes 11. So now we're dividing both sides by 5, right, to get rid of the 5. And we divided by a positive, right? So you see the direction of the inequality stays the same. And we just get 11 over 5 is greater than x. Or you could also say this is 2.2, right? 11 over 5 is the same thing as 2.2. And if you were using the number line, you'd probably want to convert this to a decimal, so that way you could find 2.2. You'd make an arrow going to the right. And also remember that whenever you graph inequalities, right, if it's strictly greater than or strictly less than, right, meaning if it is a inequality without that line underneath, then your dot is open, right? Because this means that x cannot be 11 over 5th. It could be any number that is just a little bit bigger than 11 over 5th, or a lot bigger. So moving on, now we're going to do problem 11. So for problem 11, right, the first thing that we got to do is get rid of that denominator. So we can't touch this, we can't add the 5 to both sides until we get rid of the 7. So let's multiply both sides by 7, right, to cancel out these guys. And remember, we're multiplying by positive 7, right, so nothing's going to change. So now we have, right, the 7's go away, so we're just left with x minus 5. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. Right? And remember, we multiplied by 7, so the arrow stays the same direction. So now all we got to do is we got to add 5 to both sides. Right, plus 5 to make these guys go away. And then we're just left with x, right? Once again, goes the same direction, is less than negative 16. Negative 21 plus 5 is negative 16. The arrow doesn't change unless you multiply or divide by negative on both sides. So let's take a look at this next problem. Alright, so we got a lot going on here. So first things first, we got to distribute. Right, when we see a number outside parentheses, we got to, get everything out of the parentheses so that way we could combine stuff together. So, and also when we distribute, when we multiply by 2, we're actually multiplying by negative 2, right? So both of these are going to be negative, right? So we're going to get 3y, and negative 2 times 2y is negative 4y, and negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Right, so we have 3y minus 4y minus 4 is less than or equal to 7. So now 3y minus 4y is negative 1y. Right, minus 4 is less than or equal to 7. So now we got to add 4 to both sides to make these guys cancel out. Right, so we're left with negative 1y is less than or equal to 11. Right. And now to get rid of the negative 1, we got to divide both sides by negative 1. And now we're dividing both sides by negative, right? So you see how this arrow is going down, 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 down. And then it switches because we divided both sides by negative 1. To make the negative ones cancel out, then we have y is greater than or equal to negative 11. I hope you left some space for problem 12, right? Because we went from 11 to 13. And now we're going to go to problem 14. I'll give you a second just to get this down. All right, so 14. So, right, we have a proportion problem. So we got to think about when we do the proportions, right, we're cross multiplying. And if you have a proportion inequality like this, if one of these bottom numbers are negative, then you switch the direction of the sign. If both of them are negative, then you really don't have to. Because, right, what we're doing here is we're multiplying both sides by positive 5, and we're multiplying both sides by positive 3. Right, so we're multiplying, it's like we cross multiply, right? We're multiplying this stuff by 3. We're multiplying this thing by 5. But even though it seems like we're cross multiplying, right, we're really multiplying both sides. So if you have a proportion like this, where one of these are negative, you have to switch the direction, right? And if both of them are negative, you're switching the direction 2 times, right, which means it's going to be back where it started. But as of now, right, 5 is positive, 3 is positive, so it stays the same. Right, but now we got to distribute 3 times m and 3 times 2. 3 times m is 3m, 3 times 2 is 6, right, and 5 times 2m is 10m. So now we got to subtract 3m from both sides to make these guys cancel out. And then we're just going to be left with 6 is less than 7m. And now we got to divide both sides by 7. Right, so we get 6 over 7 is less than m. And since we divided by 7, right, positive, nothing's going to change. So I guess the only thing that you guys got to be careful about is remember, even if you subtract, right, it's still not going to change. It's just if you divide or multiply by a negative number. So looking at the problems that you guys got to do, right? Right, you guys just got to do 5 and 6 and 7. Right, they should all be pretty, 5. You just have to do 6, 7, and 8. And then you guys got to do 12 and 15. Right, 15 is going to be like 14. 12 is going to be like 13. And then 6 and 7 and 8 will just will be like a mixture of 9, 10, and 11. Alright, so with that, we are done for today. So remember, let's hopefully we should have this whole first page finished by tomorrow.